Okay, one more piece of information that I forgot to mention on the last section is the holes. Now, a lot of these holes are small, a lot of them are larger. They all require tapping. In order to tap, you need taps, and they're expensive, and you need drill bits, and you need a lot of things. One thing to consider, this is something I started using recently, so I wanted to share it with you. If you go to McMaster and search for heated inserts, you will find these little inexpensive brass inserts. It's very hard to tell on the camera, but there is a thread on the inside. There's a knurl on the outside. They will tell you what size hole. I believe for this one, I believe it's an 832, and the hole, if I remember correctly, it's 0.206. So if you drill a 206 hole, you can drop this insert up to about there into that hole, but then you take the soldering iron and you put it in there. It has these special tips that you put it in there. It will heat it up. Whoops. It will heat up the insert, and as it starts heating up, it will start melting your plastic, and it will drop right in and lock itself in there. And now you have a tap without having to ever thread without having to ever tap the hole. These go as low as 256, and they go pretty high. So I found that these work great, and they're also, in the long run, if you don't already own a tap set and you don't already own a full drill set and everything, these are super convenient and super inexpensive. So if it was me redoing this project, I might want to replace some of those threaded holes with just larger holes that accommodate these inserts. And that way, when your part is printed and cleaned up, you just drop these in, melt them into place, and you have a much more structural. This will not strip like some of the PLA threads will. So that's just some food for thought. The other thing I wanted to show you is the Fusion files that I am going to provide for this. So let me plug in my mouse so you can see what's going on. All right, so here you can see I modeled everything exactly. One thing that's important to note is that on my model, I think I went too far. I modeled the drum as close to the real one as I possibly could, and I found out that the space between the tongues is not the same. So the space between these two is not the same as the space between those two, and I made them exactly the way it needed to be done, which means that these middle pieces, these little bridges right here, they are all different sizes because these robots here are not exactly evenly spaced. So I don't know that that was necessary. I think if I had done it symmetrical, I think it would have, with the calibration, it would have worked just fine. But I didn't do that on this one, and if you're going to make your own, you might want to, consider whether you want to make so many individual parts, or if you just want to kind of make everything evenly spaced, and that way you only have to do one part and print it, however many times, instead of having each piece be different and the whole patterns be completely different. So that's one thing I wanted to mention. I will include this Fusion file so you can navigate and do whatever you want with it. I will also include some step files for people that don't have Fusion. That way you can still grab these parts and manipulate them within whatever CAD program you use. And I don't know if I'm going to include the STLs, but you can always create STLs off of these very easily. I don't know if I have a full set of STLs archived, so I'll take a look, and that'll be included. If not, then just open up the step files, and then most software bundles will allow you to do a conversion from step solid models into from solid models like these into step files for 3D printing. And the only other thing that might give you a little bit of problems is figuring out which way to orient them to get the best results. And that will kind of depend on your printer as well. So I can't really give you too much advice on that, but you'll see that orienting them a certain way will give you better results. And once you figure it out on one, you can print all the other ones the same. So that's about all the information I have. I hope it's been helpful, and I gave you all the information you need, and not didn't talk too much doing it. So if hopefully you get a chance to make these, and hopefully you find ways to upgrade them. You might not need this rubber band setup. You might be able to do it some other way. I'd love to see what other people come up with. So if you do something different, make sure you let me know about it. I'd love to see what you did. Thank you. Good luck.